Hello, welcome back. Tuesday, March the 29th. Hollywood's woke crowd, Harry and Meghan belong to, and the 2022 Oscars violence. There's my disclaimer, and I want to apologize about my voice. Wasn't feeling very good yesterday, and my throat's a little scratchy. So we had Will Smith, the actor, that walked up on stage. There's his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, to the right. Chris Rock was actually one of the presenters or hosts for the evening. He made a comment about Will Smith's wife, Jada's hair, about possibly being in G.I. Jane because she had a very close-shaven hair, and he probably wasn't aware that she, I guess in the recent years, has been diagnosed with alopecia, thinning, or loss of hair. He originally was sort of, laughing at the joke, and I guess then looked over at his wife and, and then just out of nowhere walked up on stage and slapped him with his hand and, really came around like he was giving him a punch, and then went back to sit down and said some very bad words, but basically told him to not say anything about his wife. And I think people thought it was a stunt, and it wasn't. But I'm going to move on, and I'm going to relate all of this into Harry and Meghan. It was a terrible moment. I'm surprised that he was allowed to just sit back down and not go backstage. The Los Angeles police were called. They had talked to Chris, just got lost my train of thought there. Chris Rock, and he did not want to press charges. Then what bothered me, and probably many others, is Will Smith won the Academy Award for Best Actor. That didn't bother me, but what bothered me is everybody in the audience stood up and clapped for a man that had just a few minutes earlier had assaulted a fellow actor on stage, and I think without provocation. You can get up and you can leave the room, or you can choose to say something to a person privately. But I think what he did was very wrong. I mean, you're on live television and you get up and you just hit someone. You're breaking the law. That's assault. Anyway, Chris Rock said he didn't want to press charges, and I don't know if anything will change. The Academy, who is over the Oscars, said that they're going to do some more investigation into it. When Will Smith got up to receive his, there were lots of tears, and he apologized to the Academy and to the other nominees, but he didn't apologize to the man he hit, or to the other people watching it, or to the families watching it from home whose children may have been watching it. It was just a terrible moment, and I thought it was really sad that people took up for that and just condoned that behavior and stood up and clapped for him. Not saying he didn't deserve to win the award for Best Actor, but I just think the man could have contained himself and not acted out the way he did, just in my opinion. This was a picture of 2014 Lights, Camera, Leftism, how Hollywood went woke. I talked to you in the other video about Whoopi Goldberg, who was on the ladies' show, The View. Well, guess what? She spoke out again. Today's show host, Craig Melvin, slams Will Smith for Chris Rock slap and stoking the idea that men of color can't control the anger. But Whoopi Goldberg, who is on the left, defends on the View, saying sometimes you behave badly. Now, I saw Neil Sean's video where he talked about Whoopi Goldberg And it was funny because I'd put mine out before his, but he mentioned something that she was in the Royal Variety Show and paid her way to go over, but she was very keen to be a part of that because she would get, excuse me, worldwide recognition. And then he said, then she turns around and says that the Queen and the royal family need to apologize for slavery. She just can't keep her mouth shut. Said, no, she defended Will Smith, saying that he and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, had been the butt of the jokes for years and that he just snapped. I don't care if you just snap. You never, ever have the right to hit somebody else unless it's self-defense and you're defending yourself against someone. The Academy is under fire after Will Smith, 53, slapped presenter Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars Sunday and was allowed to remain at the ceremony and accept his award. Whoopi Goldberg, it just has no sense of morals, and that's what this woke crowd is all about. I'm just going to read you a few little things and just skip around. You won't know Mr. Carvel, but he is a political analyst, consultant, long-standing Democrat. But he said Carvel's side argues the party had lurched too far to the left and that it is now being defined as GOP attacks on the woke ideas that are popular with much of the country. They say that the party hasn't done enough to distance itself from slogans like defund the police, which that's what Democrats did. Now they're trying to approve a large bill to fund the police after the percentage of deaths and assaults and robberies and everything have just skyrocketed. And in case you don't know who some of these others are, I'll just quickly say the AOC Bernie Sanders elite, that's our very liberal woke squad that are in our Congress. It said that they want to guilt, intimidate, and threaten everyone into believing what they believe, said one prominent Democrat strategist. I think we have 39 leaving from the Democratic Party. And I'm not knocking any party. I'm just telling you what is fact on here. And whatever you choose to believe, and I'm trying to not even get into it, but I'm sorry it goes in. It's all related to politics. But Stay Woke says, woke is now defined as the dictionary is aware of and actively attentive to important facts and issues, especially issues of racial and social justice, and identified in the U.S., it says, originated in African American English and gained widespread beginning around 2014 as part of the Black Lives Matter movement. At the end of the same decade, also being applied by a general prerogative for anyone who or appears to be politically left-leaning. Here's a book written by Christian Tudor, and it's called Virtual Bombs, How Hollywood Got Woke and Lost Its Soul. I just want to show you a few things because I think most people don't know what being woke is and what wokeism is. So I want you to just listen for a few minutes so I can tell you a few things, and then you can do your own research and you can believe whatever you want. But like in this book's description, Hollywood's Dream Factory is now a nightmare of woke restrictions, identity politics run amok, and freedom-snuffing rules and regulations. The Oscars are unwatchable, as are many films, television shows, thanks to the woke revolution. Virtual Bombs breaks down where Hollywood went so wrong, illustrates the slow-motion disaster infiltrating the industry, and offers a glimmer of hope for a woke-free tomorrow. Award-winning critic Christian Tudor has all the receipts, showcasing Hollywood's virtual signaling follies and how it got so much worse before it gets better. And it is. And I think you might see some films and movies now that, that you will be shocked to see on film, that you'll be shocked that you're able to watch it and that it's just rated R. And I've been shocked and have chosen to, there's a lot I just don't watch anymore. Do you speak woke? It's a glossary of terms you need to know. Guess what? I think this was in GQ or Men Health magazine. They're going after the millennials and all the young group, just like Harry and Meghan are doing. Everything they do is geared in the virtue signaling and the woke salad talk that you can't understand what they're saying because they're going around in circles like our Democrats and like Kamala Harris and even our president. We can't even understand what they're saying, and they don't know what they're saying, but they're trying to make sure that they stay woke. Let me give you a little more insight. The word woke has been weaponized. Look at almost any headline on the matter, and you'll find it used as an insult. Another sign that this country has lost its stiff upper lip and is headed straight for the dogs and the targets and indiscriminate. In recent months, the media has labeled the following things as woke: the Oscars, private schools, corporations, the BBC, the concept of social distancing. Yeah. And you're going to find out, I'm thinking the next year or so, you're going to hear a lot about that. Disney World, children, the Church of England, and a video came called Cyberpunk 2077. Then we had Black Lives Matter. This movement came up, and it was talking about the blacks were being killed by the police. It was talking about Black Lives Matter, anti-racism. Well, now a lot of people have went to jail and gone to court because they've seen that that was just pushing a narrative that's part of the woke agenda, but it actually wasn't doing anything to help people of color. But they think that it was a way, and I'll say this allegedly, as a way to fund the Democratic Party so that they could keep a Democrat in office. Then we came along the cancel culture, and you saw this with Piers Morgan, you saw it with Sharon Osbourne, you saw it with a lot of people that if they didn't believe what the left believed, then they went after them to silence them. Then you could see all the articles that popped up about Harry and Meghan being warned about their woke strategy would backfire. That they should back away from being woke. Stop the virtue signaling. Just step away. Don't be so vocal. And stop all these woke things, the activism, the things that they promote that they're supposedly for. These are all woke things, and I'll prove that to you in a moment. It's widely accepted by most neutral onlookers that both Prince Harry and Meghan are woke since leaving the irritating restraints of royal life and dreary old Britain. Not my words. After all, we all know that the royal family is known for stifling charitable work with significant social impact, right? Well, it's not as though royals have been doing exactly that kind of work for decades now. To become properly woke, you have to leave the UK and move to the epicenter of social enlightenment and authenticity, to the state of California in the United States. Meghan and Harry's wokeness too extreme. I noticed Robert Lacey commented, referring to Harry and Meghan as he thinks the couple, in a way, is much too much extreme. Now, this was something I just recorded, and it's just going to move up, and I'm just going to go over and give you some ideas. Stay woke, people. So, you've got academia, the Wuhan lab, affirmative action, anti-racism, binaries, cis-normative. You've got critical race theory that are being taught in the schools to teach black people we should or white people should feel bad for what their ancestors had done. Diversity, femtech, follow the science, all the things that you've heard during this virus outbreak that we had. Green justice, identity politics, when it applies to race, genetic determination, and genetic indetermination. Inclusive, information, misinformation, disinformation. And let me just go back, I'm sorry, because I want to show you something there that just is going to sound very familiar to you, because it's going to be about Harry and Meghan. Okay, come on, let's play. About the misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is what they speak, but they accuse us who are being truthful of misinformation. But it's what they want you to know. So I want to go down and read that to you. Hope it doesn't go too fast. Maybe I can stop it here in just a moment. Gender fluidity. Identity politics we talked about a moment ago. I'm just waiting on it to move down. I had just videoed this. So you've got misinformation, what the ruling elite don't want you to know. Disinformation is what the ruling elite want you to know. Means they want to give us disinformation, and they want to tell us that we're spreading misinformation, but they want us to believe what they're saying. And then you've got malinformation. It's what the ruling elite require you to know. So this is what they're doing, people. The woke are trying to take over the world with the new world order. You don't have to believe it. You can do your own research. I'm just telling you what my research has led me to. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I went down a rabbit hole before, looked into things, and then came out thinking, no. I'm having to look what everybody says and figure out what I think the truth is. And that's what I think everybody should do. But anyway, so again, that, how they want to silence us. What they're saying is not true, but what they're telling us is misinformation is what they don't want us to know. Disinformation is what they want us to know. So see, that's what they're pushing to us. Then you've got all the LGBTQIAAP. Then you've got marginalization. You've got microaggression. You've got non-binary. All of these are things that are going to be the hot topics, buzzwords: religion, science, safe space, social justice, systemic racism, the DNA of the Democratic Party, transformative, trans justice, transphobia, trigger warning, virtue signal, white fragility, white privilege, and white privilege character flaw that infects elite white liberals when they try to convert non-racist working class whites into racist working class whites. We're not racist, and you can't say someone is just by the color of their skin. Then you've got white rage, what elite white liberals and five-star generals are full of when they describe working class whites. They say that we're full of rage. Then you've got Wokism, the missionary religion. Do you guys get that? Missionary religion of classism, preached by mostly white, mostly affluent, and mostly self-loathing liberal secularists. I'll just keep going from here. It just blows your mind, people. There's so much that's changed around us while we've been in lockdown. And I think a lot of that was to take us out of our churches, take us away from our religions, and try to start indoctrinating us with this new religion, because wokeism is a religion to them. There's a new religion. It's moving like a tidal wave through every facet of Western culture, shaping and redefining society as it goes. This religion masquerades under the guise of compassion, justice, but underneath is an evil ideology that is incompatible with Western values and incongruent with the Christian worldview. This movement did not start in Minneapolis on May 25th when George Floyd was murdered. That event acted as a watershed moment, and that's when this all started coming out, and that's when you saw it just ramp up full speed. And then you had the Black Lives Matter come around. It said, if left unchecked, this new religion could lead to a complete unraveling of Western culture. They're trying to do this around the world. The richest of the elite are trying to do this, and boy, when you look into it, it will scare you to death, because they're trying to use this as the gospel, and they're trying to get you to stop practicing your own religion or the Bible. You've got critical theory. You've heard of critical race theory. Whether you've got a child in school, or you're going to have a child in school, or you've got a grandchild, you need to know what this is about. You need to attend the school board meetings. You need to find out if this is taught at your school. If it's something you want, that's absolutely fine, but it's not something I agree with. In the early 20th century, a German school of philosophy called the Frankfurt School developed a social philosophy called critical theory. In a nutshell, critical theory critiques culture and changes the underlying power structures of society. It's a movement to liberate human beings from being circumstances that enslave them, reinterpreting Western culture as a story to oppressor versus the oppressed. In critical theory, the only things that exist are hierarchies of power, and those hierarchies must be torn down. So there's going to be the elite, and then there's going to be everybody else. And the elites want to tell us what to do. They want to preach to us. They want to tell us what we're supposed to believe in, what we're supposed to feel, what guilt we're supposed to be saddled with. I'm not going to go into a lot more of it, but I'll just tell you this, that one of the reasons why I feel like they went after Joe Rogan, because get this, Joe Rogan has a lot of people on talking about religion and talking about what's going on. But James Lindsay, a mathematician, academic, and atheist, he was recently a guest on Joe Rogan's show, and he said some religions look up, they're looking at God, and they're afraid of sin. But they're paying attention to God, and they're thinking about renewal, they're thinking about redemption, they're thinking about forgiveness. And then some religions, now that's first one was Christians, and then some religions look down, and all they do is look down at sin. If you look up, that religion can be great. It can lead people to spiritual development, community, and so on. But if you're looking down, you're obsessing about sin. You're going to start obsessing about everybody else's sin. So what they're telling you is, don't worry about sin, because if you start worrying about your own sin, you're going to start judging those around you that are committing sin. Do you see what they're saying? They're taking our Bible away from us, and they don't want us to believe. If you're a Christian, they don't want us to believe in our commandments. They don't want us to follow those anymore. They think to be a good person that it's about believing what they say believe. Differences with Christianity. What's so nefarious about Wokism is that it regularly plays on people's better motivations, such as compassion, a desire for justice. Most people have a genuine desire to see the lives of others improve, and many Christians have engaged with these ideas as if they are congruent with the teachings of Christ. Of course, there are disparities in our society where justice is needed, still to the point that Wokism has different interpretations for the concepts of truth, justice, equity, and leaves no room for the conversation for alternative ways of addressing these issues. Wokism is incompatible with biblical worldview, differing in several ways. First, it attributes intrinsic guilt or innocence to the individual based on their group identity, regardless of individual actions. I'm just going to let you listen and make your own opinion. In this tribalistic vision of the world, the only thing that exists is power. And if only power exists, then power and control are necessary to tear down a corrupt system. They want to bring in dictatorship. They want to bring in socialism. This is what our world leaders want to do. They want to tell us and control us and tear down what we believe. 7 world leaders who are woke. President of your New World Order right there is Justin Trudeau. So these are the wokest individuals, and you saw everything that was going on in Canada. historical abuses. Angela Merkel, she's the German chancellor. Then we've got Pope Francis. And then we've got Aung San Suu Kyi, but she became the president of Myanmar. Then we have former President Barack Obama. And a lot of this started whenever he was in office. Then you've got Ban Ki-moon. You've got a Colombian Civil War. Went for 5 decades under Juan Miguel. So, if you want to know what woke church is, there's a book. And it's all about, instead of Christianity, it's about social justice, paraphrases, woke church tactics, and how to engage. How to learn about it. This is the book that I study, and that's the Holy Bible. First Timothy, chapter 4, verse 1. Now the Holy Spirit tells us clearly that in the last times that some will turn away from the true faith. They will follow deceptive spirits and teachings that come from demons. Because if you believe in Wokism, you don't judge yourself, you don't judge other people. So it's like saying you're okay to sin. If they want to do something that they know that wouldn't be right in the Bible, they just turn away from the Bible and become woke. And that way they can feel like they can live without worry about condemnation or worried about not getting into heaven. So it's a new faith, people. That's what Wokism is. I remember my daughter came home in high school back about, 6-7 years ago. And she said, Mom, are you woke? And I said, woke. What's that? Are you woke? Are you up on things? Are you hip? Are you with all the topics? I said, no. Right then I started doing some research, and there wasn't a lot about it then. But I made sure I sat down, my husband and I, with our 4 children, and we talked about it. And I went back and I started looking around and realizing how this was all coming to us. And it really all just started in the last few years and got really bad during the pandemic. But this is what Harry and Meghan, this is their new religion. This is their faith. This is why they couldn't stay and do what they were doing, because it's not popular to be a person of faith. But if you're woke, that's cool, that's hip, that's what all of Hollywood is doing. That's what all the world leaders are doing. They think that's cool because they want to tell us what to do. I believe our churches were closed for all of that time because they wanted to, get people to not go back when they've opened them back up. But there were ways to get it. Listen to the radio, watch it on television, live streaming on YouTube from your church, synagogue, wherever you worship. And whatever your faith is, that is entirely up to you. I would never tell anybody what's right or wrong. I'm just telling you that I disagree with being woke or wokeism, and that I'm not going to let that cloud my judgment or take away from my faith in the Bible. And just beware, because it's all evil. And it's coming at you, and it's going in your schools. I also, when my kids were in college, I've got one left in college now, they were telling me what was being taught to them. And George Soros and other people who are trying to tear our country apart, tear our world apart, divide us by race, make us fight with one another, cloud our thinking so we can't even think for ourselves. A lot of Democrats are going in, and I'm a registered Democrat. I always voted Democrat for the most part. But I saw that party changed, and I thought, I can't do this anymore. They don't believe what I believe anymore. And so then I made a change. And I thought, it's going to be whoever is running, whoever's in office. What are they going to do? What do they believe? So we just have to keep our eyes open. We just have to be aware. But Will Smith walked on stage and he slapped a presenter, Chris Rock. He could have walked away from that. They should have arrested him right then or took him backstage. They shouldn't have stood up and clapped for him. That was like condoning his behavior that had occurred, even if he was winning Best Actor. It's not okay to do that. Well, I'm sorry. I don't even know how long this went on, but I just wanted to talk to you about that and show you that it's all related to what Harry and Meghan are doing. Maybe it'll make more sense now because I know there's a lot of people that aren't familiar with this. And especially as we get older, I have to go back and research things because, it's things that they're teaching to our young, impressionable kids. That's why Harry and Meghan direct everything toward the young, because they want to get the generations to come up and believe this. And it's harder to get us that are older and wiser and more set in our ways to change our beliefs. So protect your youth, protect your young, and because you never know who's out there trying to teach them to believe in something different. If you want to believe this, that's entirely your choice. I don't judge. But have a blessed day. I love you all. And again, I apologize about my voice. I'm just not feeling well, but I may take a day or two off, and then I'll be back with you. I'm going to be watching the memorial service today, along with everyone else, and it's going to be very sad. And shame on Harry for not being there. Bye, guys.